Virgo in-depth weekly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for week commencing the 25th of May for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. Going to share with you the big themes of the week ahead, first of all. Then on screen, your event chart as we come into the week always provides an important backdrop. I'll then go through each of the influences frame by frame to give you a clear picture of what's upcoming in terms of your energy, your work, relationships, and finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. I never ask anyone to like or hype my videos, so if you're up for that too, that would be gratefully received. It's a week when your connection to the world at large is very much still to the fore, particularly as far as your professional situation, your goals and ambitions. And if you're up for really moving forwards in a very dynamic way, this week is right to help you get there. It's just that if you're resisting any changes, that can create some tension. Now, around a friendship or your social situation, there could be some jealousy that's creeping in there. But by the end of the week, the full moon, the blue moon in the sign of Sagittarius, is in an oblique but important angle to Mars in the part of your chart to do with your personal freedom. And if you are feeling a little bit obligated around any responsibility, whether it is professional or whether it is personal, it could show up as the week draws to a close. On the screen now is your event chart, Virgo, and you can see that Uranus, the planet of change, is right at the top of your chart. So that's really the clue. It could be that whether you want to change your work or whether your work will want you to change and adapt to their situation. Either is highly possible. But if we look at the relationship of the sun to the nodal axis, which is on Monday exactly, we have a T-square. So it may be that to seize a golden prize, you may need to perhaps put your focus very much on being single-minded, and it might not quite work so well for a relationship situation. However, by Tuesday, the Sun is forging an awesome link with Pluto. And if you are up for flexing, applying for a new job, pitching in a different way with your own business, a more imaginative way, a major breakthrough can come. But conversely, because Mars on Tuesday is in a square with Pluto, if that part of you that wants to stay with what you know is really strong, or it's a point of principle, your viewpoint, your philosophy doesn't quite mesh with who you're working for, there could be a big standoff. But maybe that link between Pluto and the Sun is urging you to take charge of the situation, even if it doesn't happen exactly this week. Put things in motion to try to take charge of things and maybe to steer your direction in a different way. However, by Friday, Saturn, the planet of limitation, is in a tense right angle with Venus. And it may be around the long-term relationship. If you're not quite seeing eye to eye, it could show up by then, but perhaps most of all in a social situation. But for you, you may be explaining to people, look, there's so much going on as far as my connection to the world is concerned. I can't please all of the people all of the time, which brings us to that blue moon as the week draws to a close in that quincunx with Mars. And it may be that just juggling that work-life balance, which is such a big thing for many of us, despite all the labor-saving devices we have, could be making you, in a way, want to just break free of it all and do something very spontaneous. So that it does have some different themes this week. There is the opportunity for a big breakthrough professionally. There is the chance of big tension, but there's also the potential for tension around a romantic or friendship relationship. But that full moon by the end of the week could make you a lot more sensitive about all of this and maybe give you the desire to just get away from it all. I'm going to summarize those four areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances next. But just to say, Virgo, I've slashed the price of my personal horoscope report. It used to be buy two, get 30% off. It's now buy one, get three. And the one you pay for is your life roadmap report, which helps us to understand the patterns that play out in our lives so far, get a more intimate understanding of the energies behind that and how we can work with them better future forwards. The free charts, your 12 month uh, transit forecast, but also your draconic chart. Your draconic chart, really very profound, helps us to look at our situation in a very different way, and astrology, and perhaps also our own values. Please see below for more. If you've yet to watch your Gemini season deep dive video, please see that on the screen. If you've yet to watch your Mars square Pluto, it's a high voltage clash deep dive video that peaks on Tuesday. Please check that out too. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, it'd be an absolute pleasure. Please see my testimonials below. And if you've yet to take advantage of my free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning, please do so and click below for more. So, to summarize, when it comes to your energy with Saturn and Neptune in that eighth house, if there is any complexity about where you have been very close or invested in a situation, I think that can be the one that feels a bit draining. But actually, if you're someone who's wanting to push yourself to get more active, Mars in Taurus will certainly be helping that at the moment. As far as your work's concerned, if you're open to learn new skills, embrace technology, use your passion for providing excellent services, but perhaps in a different and fresh way, it can be a very productive week, because the sun in that 10th house is about success. Pluto cheering it on in the 6th house is about evolving around the processes. But if you do feel conflicted about sticking with what you know or twisting, that can come up this week too. Perhaps that square between Saturn and Venus could just be worry about how you could finance a change, which would be understandable. But overwhelmingly, do know, as far as your finances are concerned, the two planets of fortune are coming together on the 9th of June, and that can be very good for a connection to a friend of a friend. It may be a case of who as much as what you know. And then finally, as far as your romantic situation is concerned, I think you may discover this week if there is some fault lines. It doesn't mean to say that they can't be overcome, but if you feel that you're not really being understood with what you're trying to achieve in your worldly interactions, that could create resentment. Equally, if you're in a relationship where you can't quite get it together as far as intimacy, that could show up as well. And by the end of this week, you may find yourself, at the very least, in the mood for a bit more personal space. Have a great week, Virgo. Thank you so much for joining me. All the best, and look forward to seeing you again soon.